Welcome to the greatest of the greatest. A podcast that you never knew you needed. With interviews from people you have never met, or maybe you have once or twice. Asking questions and knowing more than you want to know about them. You are listening to Full Buddy Cast.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to the episode of Full Buddy Cast Presents. We got a nice guest again, recurring guest. He's this is like his 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th installment. But before we get into that, let's quickly go through the sponsors. Shout out to Cole Street Brewery, 1627 Cole Street, Enumclaw, Washington. Go down there, say hi to Sean, and mention the podcast. See if he hooks you up on that. He likes to get tagged in social media, at least Cole Street. And then with the Full Buddy Cast hashtag, he said 15% off your drink. Go to Bordeaux Wine Bar as well. Tell them what up. Podcast sent them. We've also got, go to Enumclaw Mazatlan. Say hi to Andy. Was there last night. He's sponsoring my wife's softball team, co-ed softball team. They went 2-0 yesterday over at the Boise Creek Fields. And so we celebrated with some margaritas with the team. Afterwards last night, I got called up for that. I was able to go and hang and chill there. Shout out to Andy and all the crew there. And then also Dan Coots Snyder, Chef Country Kitchen in Enumclaw. Find them on DoorDash as well. Great, delicious meals. They got the Bentley Special, which is a meatloaf panini sandwich, as well as the Travis Kenny on DoorDash, which is pasta. And then you've also got, I think he still is doing the Bentley Burrito, as well as the Tea Quesadilla. So anyways, let's hit the Patreons, and then we get right into the next portion of the show, which is actually the show. I'd like to shout out the people that monthly contribute. This helps me continue on, keep going. And so if you ever want to join that, go to patreon.com. One word, Full Buddy Cast, and even leave a review at times if you ever hit up, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But here we go with the Patreon's monthly support. Kellen Hall, Holly Graff, Adam Kenny Art, Seth Loop, Cassie Spencer, Amanda Keating, Shekinah Sarver, Jared Skelly, Ben Illman, Jamie Roberts, Jamie Kenny, Apollo Doodle, Jackson Zyduk, Sasha Carey Lynn, Thomas Savageau, Councilman Anthony Wright, Cameron Stratton, Katri Hoban, Jackie Van Hoof, Dan Coots Snyder. No shout out to Homer because he's still trying to figure it out. He keeps telling me, "Oh, I'm going to be there," and then he just never shows up. But he still messages me on the side, and he
does he respond like,
don't, yeah, yes, no. I'm sure he loves those, but he does love you. He has mentioned it a few times.
all right?
He
thank you, Homer.
he
Appreciate
absolutely enjoys the wild and crazy stories of one Billy Custalow, Painted Horse, here in the studio. Billy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Just on a quick note, if we can get like Homer, thank you, and all the people out there that appreciate the stories, and especially you ladies that like the sound of my sultry voice. Now, if we could just find one of your hot friends that's single to have that.
I have a few of them. I should probably. There's one out there who's listening. Veronica, with Veronica's Hot Topics. Believe me, I've thought in my head that'd be interesting to see a blind date and see how it went.
Well, I'm blind. I'm deaf, dumb, and mute too sometimes. But yeah, yeah, definitely. No, it's just your friend Holly.
Yes, Holly
thank
Graff.
you.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I really, I'm humbled. I appreciate the compliments, folks. I really do.
Yeah.
It was funny that she said that, though, because there's a girl that works at my periodontist. That's why my teeth look so nice.
Yeah, they look great.
Trust me, I put a lot of time and money into these things. There's a gal that works there. She came over one time, too. She's like, I love listening to you tell stories. I could just listen to you talk for hours. And I'm just like,
no, wait, no. She's listening to the podcast episodes or something else.
She's listening to me with when I'm in there. I'll be with the girl, and
I
between
gotcha.
stuff, I'll tell stories or whatever. And she's just like, apparently the sound of my voice, I guess, it hits a frequency with some of you girls. I don't know. Does it vibrate or does it buzz or flicker? Or I'm just curious. I just want to know when I hit the right tone.
Yeah, that's why.
Hey, my parents used to give me so much. Just oh my God, they used to bust my balls so hard. You call the house and be like, Hey, what's up, Travis? How you doing? Your wife, your daughter, your mother calls the house. Oh, hi. Yeah, okay, hang on, I'll get her.
Yeah.
Like girls call, my voice for some reason just drops half
Oh yeah.
volume, man.
That's because
I've
you
been
come
like
in.
that.
You come in dominant, but you're
Yeah,
the pink. You put the rose.
yeah,
in
man.
Pink,
You get it then. Okay, you picking up and I'm putting down. Right on. So, yeah. Hey, I just wanted to tell you something before I forget. First of all praise and glory to God. Thank you. God has a plan. Remember that. You might be down, but you don't have to stay there. I brought these pictures here I wanted to share with you for this moment, for this Father's Day coming up. March 25th, 2010 is a day that will stick in my heart for the rest of my life. It's the first day I ever laid eyes on my daughter. She was 19. This is the first picture that was ever taken of us together. As you can see, she's very emotional. She's crying, and I'm just hugging her because I've spent all these years
Can we post
looking
these
for
on the page?
absolutely,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. And then this is the first one of the first pictures. Well, this was her first visit to meet her paternal side of the family, grandparents, and took her down to the reservation, to meet the tribe and everything.
Yeah.
It was, and we did this on Father's Day. This was Father's Day weekend, my first Father's Day weekend with her. She's meeting my mom. That's me and my mom and her. And then we go. It's like I said, Father's Day weekend. So I go see my father's, go to his church to watch him do a sermon, and then we do the powwow is this Saturday. So the powwow's coming up this weekend in Richmond, in King William down at the reservation, the Mattaponi Indian Reservation. It's our annual powwow. I think this is like the 25th, 26th, something like that. But anyhow, I just took her back at that time, man. So we got to do the Father's Day thing and the powwow and meet the family and all. So these two pictures, when I say these two pictures are very dear to me, man, is an absolute understatement. Nice. So I'll hold them up there to the camera, as you folks. And a lot of people, all my friends on Facebook have seen this because a lot of them have been privy to this story
now
from the start.
Well, one thing I want to for the audio listeners out there that listen to this, if you go to what's your
you can find me Billy Painted Horse Custalow
on
friend
YouTube.
Holly, your friend Holly. Well, no, not there. That's the Facebook thing, and I'm kind of weird about the friends thing on Facebook, so that's why you see I have friends only posts sometimes. I do a lot of public stuff, but some of it's FO because it's friends only and fuck off. Yeah, the YouTube thing. Actually, I prefer Rumble. Go to rumble.com and look for Painted Horse 9.
But this is where your video, because right now
I will upload this. I will take this video from this podcast here, and I will upload it to my. I was waiting for you to create a Rumble because I would gladly give it to you. It's your podcast and whatever. No. But I will upload the video deal here to my Rumble if that's the only source. I'm trying not to give YouTube, Google, or Facebook, Meta, fascist shitheads any more revenue or traffic. I'm trying to move over to the free speech sites. I still got my reservations on X, aka Twitter, because there's still little bastards hiding in the shadows there. But whatever, I'm not using that prolifically anyhow, but I am doing a lot more of spending time on Rumble. My favorite shows have all moved over to Rumble. Tim Pool, Mr. YouTube himself, he got pissed off at the shit they did to him, so he's going to Rumble. So whether people want to realize it or not, YouTube's days are fucking numbered, and they should be, because in this country we have free speech, and censorship can kiss my ass. And anybody thinks that this is new for me, just ask Mike Avez, the Mike Kuntz Show. I stood up for him at a public meeting when they tried to censor him, because I ain't for it, man. You might not like. That's the First Amendment has a reason. It's for the speech that you don't like hearing. If it was just for the stuff we all wanted to hear, we wouldn't need it. So, that being said, what was my point here? I was going.
Well, the Rumble,
the Rumble thing.
You go check them out.
So yeah,
watch
so
the
rumble.com, Painted Horse 9. If you want to go there, if you really got to do the YouTube thing, it's Nikki. So it's NIKKISTCUSTALOW. On YouTube. You can find me there and subscribe. I will upload it there, but I'm going to make sure that Rumble gets the priority.
I like it.
But yeah, that way you can watch the video here. It's not much, folks. I'm just sitting here at his table,
just holding
the phone or whatever, moving it about. Just
Yeah, we got to find
walking
like
around.
a little
I know.
drop,
Well,
a backdrop for you.
I've got the stand here for it. If I pull it out the right way, there we go. See a little stand there lets me kind of kick it up like that. So I don't know. I'll finagle something here.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let me get back on the microphone like a professional. Yeah. So if they want to find me there, that's great, and I appreciate it, and hopefully I don't disappoint too many people. But your fans that are showing love, I really do appreciate that. So.
Yeah, I do appreciate those guys reaching out and those gals reaching out as well.
Yeah,
It's
especially the
nice
gals.
to
Guys,
hear.
no offense, but yeah.
It's always nice to hear people listening and having questions and stuff like that. Please send those questions for right now, for this month or this week, actually, because if you haven't noticed, it's like an every other week type of a thing we got going on right now. But happy summer, June 20th coming up. And so to start this out, I would like to hear you're waking up, elementary school, and it's first day of summer. What is your day looking like? Is it what TV shows, what cereal? What are you doing? What are you going out?
Age? What were you? What age?
Let's just say like when it's you, like probably 5th grade, 6th grade, it starts to become you.
So 12 or 13. Right,
well, let's go a little earlier. Let's go
11, 12.
Yeah,
10,
yeah,
11.
yeah.
Okay. 11, 12. So we're looking at 1978, 79. Because I'm 67. So I'm getting up, probably trying to figure out how I'm going to get the next issue of 16 magazine, because there's going to be a cool ass Kiss poster in there, and a Kiss article. I'm serious. For about my little sister Audrey could probably verify this. For at least 3 or 4 years straight, I had every month issue of 16 magazine, and if they would have left out the Leaf Garrett and who was the other guy, Peter. Well, it was just certain guys that Cassidy's. That's it, David Cassidy, Sean Cassidy. If they could have left them out, I wouldn't have minded. But every month, Kiss was the thing, right? And 16 magazine, Kiss owes a lot of their fame probably to that magazine, because I got it. I know friends that had it, and there was the poster. There was the 2-sided poster. There'd be Leaf Garrett on one side, and there'd be like Gene Simmons or Ace or whomever. But there was always a Kiss poster, and there was always a Kiss article, and that exposure. I mean, for a kid in Richmond, Virginia in the 70s, I mean, that was everything for us, right? So I'm getting up at summer. I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to make money? Waiting for my mom and dad. Now, at this time, we have a babysitter across the street, so we stay with her. So I figure out a way to sneak back in the house after my parents leave. So I'm learning how to break and enter on my own house. Start me off young, man. But because the neighbors across the street that were babysitting us, they would watch, the news in the morning, the game shows, and the soap operas. And that's where I told you I came up with the name Nikki. And that was because of those babysitters across the street there. And we were just right inside of the county line in Chesterfield County. Just outside of the city limits of Richmond. And anyhow, the Rose. And they would watch it. And I was just a restless kid. So I wanted to go over and, I wanted to watch, I think NBC at that time, they had the thing where they'd play those old movies during the day. I forget, it was called something cinema, classic cinema or something like that. And I liked watching those, but they didn't watch them over there. They wanted to watch their soaps. So I'm sneaking in the house. Of course, I'm sneaking cigarettes. This is Richmond, Virginia. My mom works at Philip Morris. My stepdad smokes a pack and a half, 2 packs a day of Marlboros or Merritts or whatever. Smoking's just 70s, man. Smoking's a thing. Like, parents didn't want me to. I got in trouble for it a lot, but yeah. So, I'm getting up and I'm thinking, okay, can I raid their change jar in the bedroom? I wonder if he's got any Playboy or Hustler magazines in there. I'm a boy in Richmond, Virginia, 11, 12 years old. Come on, man. And I'm girl crazy. That started probably around 5, but anyhow, I got friends, so I'm hanging out with them. I'm running the streets with them as much as possible. But
so you're riding bikes?
I'm riding bicycles. Oh, dude, in hindsight, an idyllic childhood, really. It wasn't perfect. There was bullshit. There was some bad stuff, whatever. But you know, you get more nostalgic and everything as you get older, and you tend to push out the bad stuff and remember all the good. And I've made sure not to do that too much, to remind myself, yeah, there was, you know, there's reasons why you're so fucked up now. It's because of some things that happened back then that you really never dealt with. You dealt with them the best way you knew how, which was, hey, I'm going to run as far away from here as I can, and I'm going to do lots and lots of drugs and alcohol and sing in bands and stuff, and, you know, just be a shitty person for a while. But looking at it, for the most part, I had a absolutely splendid. My mother made sure she bought me my saxophone. She bought me my first Kiss albums. She bought me the Kiss dolls. My mom supported my love of music, but she used to tell me, just baby, just find, you know, fall back on something else, you know, get an education. Yeah. But my mother encouraged, she knew how much I wanted to be a musician, you know, and so she fed that. She didn't try to hold it back from me. So when I look at that, I owe her. I mean, I owe that woman so much. I told you that before, but yeah.
So your first albums then
would have been like Kiss Alive, right? Because that's like 75, 74. You understand, I'm 7 in 74, 8 in 75. So Kiss is really blowing up right about that time. I think Alive 2 comes out in like 76. Of course, we find out decades later that Alive, you could tell when you listen, Alive album, a lot of it was redubbed in the studio later, right? So they had some live portions, but they went back in the studio and redid stuff because it probably sounded like shit live. Yeah. And so they went back. But, you know, to us kids, we didn't care, man. It was just fucking Ace Frehley with his smoking guitar. Shock me. You know, come on, man. What kid's not going to be into that? I mean, dude, I tell people, I'm like, you knew you were a real Kiss fan when you got in a fucking fist fight. Kiss are fags. Kiss fans are fags, right? You know, no, you had to fight to be a Kiss fan, folks. So don't tell me you're, you know, oh, you love your band. Bullshit, until you have to fight people because they hate your band. It's like being a Raiders fan. You don't really know you're a fan of a team until everybody hates your guts.
They also look the same. The fans of Kiss and the fans of the Raiders.
Yes. A lot of face paint.
Together.
A lot of face paint
Black
and spitting blood.
Yeah. So how, I know we're kind of jumping around, but as I listen to your childhood, you know, I hear music. Mm-hmm. But I also know there's a guy later on in life that would start the Waterboy Sports show. So where did the love of sports come into play, especially out in Richmond? I'm picturing NASCAR a little bit, but maybe
no. So my stepfather was a professional drag car racer, but I hated racing because I had to work on the cars when my friends were going, hey, let's go, you know, over here and smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol, you know. And I'm like, no, I got to stay here and help him work. And then of course, you know, he was a short-tempered man who, you know, trying to teach someone by calling them a fucking idiot and stuff like that. Just, it doesn't work. And you've seen the movies and the TV shows where the guy's like, what's his Titus, that guy, you know, how his dad, like, yeah, man, some of our dad, you know, it was my stepdad, but all entailed, he was a wonderful man. He was great because I needed that father figure in my life. I don't know what I would have turned out like had he not been there. But sports, I wanted to play sports. But back then, my mom was so worried. The coaches call her, please let him play. He is so talented. Like, you know, we'd just be doing stuff in gym class or whatever, and the coaches would see me and just be like, your parents let you play? And I'm like, you can try. And my mom's like, I don't have time. I'm working and da-da-da. Man, we'll pick him up. I don't want you. And come to find out, she was worried that I was going to get hurt. And she didn't want me to be crippled, have my leg broken, my knee blown out. You know, she see these people, athletes that would get hurt, you know. My mom was friends with like a lot of professional wrestlers. She worked at a restaurant right by the Richmond Coliseum when she was young, you know, trying to take care of me. And some of the wrestlers, the old school dudes like the Gene and Ole Anderson, and other wrestlers, and these future NASCAR drivers. Sonny Hutchinson was one of them. He was the young girls loved him because he was just a big teddy bear that just took care of all them girls, protected them, looked out for them, and helped them out when they needed everything. And so, you know, my mom and my aunts talk about him. When they talk about him, they're like, oh, that man was, you know, they say nothing but good things about him. These guys were like my grandmother lived in Martinsville. Like I could spit out her living room window onto Buddy Baker's garage roof, you know. Like I could throw a golf ball and probably bounce it 2 or 3 times and hit the Martinsville Speedway. That's how close she lived to it. So I was around racing a lot. Of course, Richard Petty was the king, man. So, I rooted for him. But as I got older, I started getting into girls. And so, still was a Kiss fan, the music thing. But the parents wouldn't let me play sports. So I started gravitating more towards the music. And then, of course, with the music came, the smoking and the drinking and partying and stuff like that. And then it just sort of followed me as I went west. So yeah.
But how do you end up on a sports show?
Okay, so on that note, so I told you, so I have an addictive personality, and thank God for Michael Jordan, because I've been a Tar Heels fan all my life. That was the first team I ever rooted for, was the Tar Heels. And I told you I used to wait for the Sunday school bus Sunday mornings, and they'd replay the Notre Dame games. So I was rooting for Notre Dame football and UNC Tar Heel basketball. I mean, Dean Smith, come on. And I watched all them guys come up as a little boy. I just watched all these great basketball players, and I just thought someday. And I got a offer to come down and discuss a scholarship with North Carolina when I was graduating high school. I forget how it worked out, but I had really high scores, man. I was like off the fucking charts score wise. And anyhow, I got a letter from them because I told my counselor, they'd asked me what schools would I want to, and I said UNC. And then they said, who else? I said, UCLA. I said, well, I was like,
that's quite a jump.
I was, yeah. Because they were thinking I was going to be, UVA or, VCU or something like that. VCU, their music program, dude. I should have stuck and stayed in Richmond and got that. But then again, no, I shouldn't have. Because like I told someone, any deviation from the path that I've taken probably wouldn't be sitting here now and telling you this story. Right. So I made every right turn because I'm where I need to be right now. But in the 90s, as I was trying to get off the drugs, I'm living down in Arizona. I'm trying to stop doing meth and stay away from the yayo and the drinking. Because I just love getting high and partying, man, and I was young. I was 21. What am I, 22, 23, or 19? Yeah. So Jordan comes around, and now I'm working at the Bally's U.S. Swim and Fitness Health Club in Phoenix, right off of Greenway and the freeway. And so I'm getting my shit together, right? I'm trying to get my head clear. And then Michael Jordan comes around, and so my addictive personality just, boom, I'm into basketball. And I just poured myself into playing hoops. Right? And I had played as younger. When I was younger, I used to play all the time. But like, I'm back. I'm like, yeah. And I started realizing, like, for an amateur hour, I'm not too bad. I can hoop, and I'd go and play with some bros on the asphalt, dude, like for real. And I'd hold my own. And they kick the passes out to me at 3, and I just drain them. Like, I just get in a rhythm, get in a zone, and I could just drop them, And it's us little short, under 6 foot white dudes that always seem to like hit them from downtown, like, because you got to develop that outside game, because you ain't going in the paint with 6'8", brother, ready to lay lumber on you.
Hit those threes.
You can be like, you stay over there, I'm gonna shoot from back here.
Yep.
But Michael Jordan saved my life. Michael Jordan saved my life, dude. He gave me something else to be addicted to, something much healthier. So I started playing. Of course, my knees and back are probably sitting right now going, fuck you. Yeah, I got so into basketball that I started getting healthy and in shape, right? And then I joined that band, and so, I'm a year and a half, 2 years, pretty much sober. And then I get in the rock band down there, Industrial Slam. We start getting popular and playing out. And I'm back in the scene again. Now I'm not working at the gym anymore. Now I'm drinking again. And I'm not doing dope, but I'm just drinking again. And I'm smoking weed and I'm drinking. I'm drinking a lot because drinks are free everywhere I go, man. It's like alcohol's free. So I got the call, obviously, from up here, in early 94. It's, hey, Nikki, we want you to come back up here and sing for our band. So when our band band room got broken into, Industrial Slam, and cleaned out and everything, I'm just kind of kicking around. I'm like sleeping on my friend's couch, and he's like, dude, you can't stay here. And I'm like, I know. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do. So I just bounced back to Seattle, and I get up here and I'm singing with that band, and then I meet my wife. And we dating or whatever, and I'm still into the basketball thing though.
You have to be,
Still.
especially at
Oh,
that
I'm hardcore.
time.
I mean, yeah, this is 94 that I come up here. So Jordan is out of it for a moment, right? Because he's playing baseball in Birmingham. And trust me, I was keeping track of him. And I'm just like, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. I know he's going to come back. And but it's crazy to think if he hadn't taken those 2 seasons off, they would have faced the Rockets, and that would have been a hell of a series. But they both would have ended in 6, because that's what our man does. He finishes them in 6. It's just you have to wonder, man. But I understood his father being murdered and everything, the way he was, and everything was going on in his life, the gambling and shit. Yeah, I know his head was fucked up. And he was probably
trying to find something.
Probably walking on thin ice with the league with his gambling. Some of them were looking at him like Pete Rose kind of thing, like, bro, you might need to step the fuck away for a minute and let shit chill, calm down. But I still was keeping up with it. But by this point, I'm not just a Bulls fan. I'm a basketball fan. Yeah. But I'm also a football fan. I love the Raiders. I mean, I've been a sports fan since I was a kid. I love football.
We just gravitated.
I mean, in Virginia, it's Washington Redskins. Everybody's a Redskins fan, right? Or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves now. I used to want them to change their name, and the only reason I was on the change the name kick, I'll be honest, one was because I think Dan Snyder is a little prick, and I'd like to kick him. It's
more Dan.
I'd like to kick him square in his taint and watch him hit the fucking moon. Little prick. And I told him that. I literally said that to him. I said, if you're ever walking down the street and see me, make sure your security keeps a bubble around you, because I'll fucking cave your face in. I'm like, I can't stand that prick, dude. But my problem with it was the disparity of fair and equal treatment under the law. And I kept asking people, and I've asked this since I was a little kid. It's like, I asked my dad one time, I remember saying, so are there like black skins or white skins? Because I didn't know. Right. And he's like, no, son. He goes, no, that's what they call us. And I was just like, but I don't have red skin.
Right.
And so, there's a dilemma for parents there, especially Native American parents, looking at their mixed breed child who's asking, like, why aren't there white skins or black skins or brown skins or whatever? Why is there just red skins? And then, but not all Indians have red skin. Some of us have black skin, some of us have white skin, some of us have a mixture. It depends on what time of the year it is. So, as a child, it kind of messed with my head. So I just always thought it was like, man, it's kind of fucked up that you guys can sit there and call, like, you're all politically correct now. And that was the whole thing, is I was trying to be a spiteful dick about political correctness. And that was my point, was like, no, you're going to sit here. I said, so if I come up with a team called the Nashville N-Words, y'all going to be okay with that?
Right.
But with Native Americans supposed to be okay. And these people out here, I mean, most Native Americans are okay. Well, shut the fuck up and stop trying to speak for Native Americans. Bitch, you probably ain't been to a fucking powwow since you heard the word. Stop trying to act like you can speak for us. But some of us Native Americans actually look like this, and we can't help it. It wasn't like I didn't choose to look this fucking good, okay? Yeah. God did this. It's not my fault. Blame him. But I just thought it was like, no, man, this is hypocrisy 101 right here. Change the fucking name then. It's like, call us the Warriors, or the Washington Warriors would have worked fine. People are like, well, what about the Seminoles? What's offensive about Seminoles? That's the name of the tribe. Well, what about the Indians? I'm like, well, the Indians, the only issue I had with them was Chief Wahoo, his goofy big tooth, right, like drunk goofy Indian look. I'm like, yeah, that's okay, ha 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 ha, but do like one of those caricature pictures of like Sambo, the black character, whatever, on a team, and watch people fucking burn the stadium down. I mean, I was just like, no, man, if you're gonna be all the way with this, then be all the way with it. Don't just stop here. I'm like, if we're the first ones to get fucked on this plot of land, as you guys so quaintly put it, then don't let us be the last ones getting, the PC treatment. And so, but now that they've changed it, I'm just like, no, man, just go back to the fucking Redskins. I'm like, I was just kidding. But no, it's so stupid that, what was it, the Washington football team, and now they're the Washington Commanders. I mean, that was like going around your elbow to get to your asshole kind of thinking, because it did nothing. It did nothing for the team. I mean, now it just looks like a mockery. It looks like just an experiment in silliness.
Right. Yes.
And it shows the stupidness of political correctness. And it's like, yeah, I would say most Native Americans looking back would, just like the family of Aunt Jemima and the family of Uncle Ben, would like to have their ancestor renowned and remembered and put back on the fucking product. You know, it's like, no, they're like, hey, check it out, man. We're gonna act like we're doing this for racial equality, and we're gonna go remove the black people and the native people off of the products, like Land O'Lakes, right? That Indian chick's gone. The fucking red-skinned, he's gone. Uncle Ben, Aunt Jemima, gone. I'm just like, really? But Little Debbie's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the white girl can stay.
Yeah.
I thought it was silly, but anyhow, back to the story. The sports thing, man. I got married to this gal, you know, and so I'm with her. She works in bars and restaurants and all, so I get to watch a lot of sports too.
Okay.
And I went to National Broadcasting School in the late 80s when I lived here in Seattle, back when I was hanging out with all the grunge bands before they got big, right? And so literally that night I went to that LA Guns concert. I came from school, right? I was going to National Broadcasting School at 4th and Vine, if anybody remembers those days. And so I had always wanted to be on, you know, some people were like, yeah, you got a great voice for radio. And I'm like, yeah. And then in class, I remember I walked in one time, they had the R&R review, right? Radio and Record Review, which is like the Bible of the industry. And they're like, Nikki, come here. We found your job. And I shit you not, the whole classroom is congregated around this one desk, and the guys and they point, and it's like, MTV is looking for new VJs.
Oh.
And they're like, dude, this is so you. And like when I did the entrance test there, the lady that ran it, now some people are like, yeah, they probably tell everybody that. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do. But this one seemed really sincere. She came into me and she looked at me. She says, you say you're doing radio? And I was like, yeah. She says, are you sure? And I go, yeah, why? She goes, no. She goes, it's just your video test. You were perfect. She says your diction, your delivery, you stare right at the camera, you read everything perfectly, you didn't stutter, stammer. She goes, the radio seemed a little more hesitant. I go, yeah, because I'm having to control stuff, so my brain is like, okay, I'm looking at all the bells and buttons and whistles and lights and shit, and my ADD goes, woo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but if you give me a red light up here to stare at, I'm like, hi, tonight, blah, 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 blah. You know?
Yeah.
I'm good at but I'm better. Also, I said the other thing is there's a camera person and other people standing back there. So I'm talking to them. I have an audience. I can see reaction. Instead of radio, I'm just doing like this there and here. Like I told you, I don't get that. I don't see that reaction, the response to what I'm saying. And I live for that. So I said, yeah, I'm going to do the radio thing. Because back then I'm like, I'm not cutting my hair, man. I'm not going to cut my hair for a show, for a TV station. Silly youth, but but I went ahead and did the radio thing. But it was just funny, like people were telling me, yeah, you need to do television, man. So I started dating her, or my wife at the time, and I started looking in. We have these friends, this girl Kara and her new boyfriend Paul, and he's a bike messenger too. And he and I meet up, and we're over behind Nordstrom's there at Westlake smoking bowls. Hey, man, yeah, and we're talking. Hey, heard you wanted to do like a TV show. I was like, yeah, that public access channel, man. I'm like, I was thinking about going and checking that out and seeing what it takes, get on there and do try to do a show or something. He's like, well, what were you thinking of doing? I was like, I don't want to do it without a co-host. I don't want to do it by myself. I want to have somebody to work, bounce stuff. He goes, I'll do it. I'm like, really? Like, yeah, okay. I was like, fuck, well, let's do it. So he went and found out, like, all right, man. So we go in this day for orientation. So we went and we did the orientation. We stood up, and guy Matt, that was like the head guy at the place at the time, says, stand up till CR. So we stood up. Paul introduced himself and said, me and my friend Nick here are going to do a sports show. And then I stood up and I said, my friend is humble. I said, allow me. I said, hi, my name is Nick Custalow. And I said, I'm going to do a sports show on here. And I said, and by the time I'm done with this place, we're going to be the most remembered fucking show to ever air on this channel. I said, that's what I'm here for. And I sat down and Matt looked at me like, wow. And when we left here, he says, I remember you said that. And I thought, wow, what a cocky thing to say. He says, but then I watched your show and how you guys evolved and how you built and became the Water Boys to where people like knew who you guys were. He says, and I was like, damn, he was absolutely spot. He said they were going to be the best damn show on that channel. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't talk shit unless I'm ready to back it up, man. I'm like, if I spit it, I'm gonna hit it, you know. And so he's like, yeah, you definitely backed it up. And so it was just passion, man. It was two guys that know their shit about sports, like
I've been pretty
deeply.
I've been pretty impressed with the clips I've seen. I'm like, but as I'm listening to your background, prior to this, and I'm just like, man, where did the sports stuff come into play?
It fits in there. If you watch like Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam, right? Huge basketball guy. A lot of musicians.
Who's that on that? That's a Kemp poster, and it's Pearl Jam.
Is it Pearl Jam sign?
And it's like he's got a guitar with like so many different signatures on it, and I love that. I love that poster. What it is, it's a poster I got in the height of Sean Kemp on the Seattle Supersonics. Loved the guy. Cut my hair like it when I had hair, and loved number 40. Kemp, man. I love the Rain Man. So I'd get everything. Now I wasn't as into the grunge because at that time I was more into the hip hop scene and like I loved that whole thing. But I got this poster, but this poster I would look at every night before I went to sleep, and it was just these. It was him, Kemp, and then you probably know who it is, slam dunking a basketball. And it was just a sweet poster. So, you're coming into the Northwest, knowing a lot of these bands, obviously being a part of those bands,
meeting them.
Just
meeting them. I'm coming up here. I'm just being like I am
right,
now,
right,
but
right
much
now.
younger and prettier.
But it's the height. It's the height of the Seattle
It's
Supersonics
all- yes,
and basketball.
yes.
I mean, that's Dream Team.
Yes.
That's like
George
basketball
Karl,
was massive.
Yeah, George Carl's coming. Another story. So when I first got here, real quick, I was working with a landscape company called Dr. Lawn over in Bellevue. My friend Bill Phillips, if he hears this. Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy? Hope Ohio's treating you well, brother. Love you. I'm working at Dr. Lawn, and I end up in this place over in Bellevue one day, and I see a guy's license plate that says Sonics. It says Seattle Sonics, and then on his license plate it says Voice One. I'm like, Voice One? And I walked over and I said, now, I'm a singer. My first thought is, sir, are you a vocal instructor? And he says, no. And he's an elderly man, very nice man. And this is a very affluent neighborhood in Bellevue. And he says, no. He says, I'm a sports commentator. And I said, really? I said, can I ask what your name is? He says, my name's Bob Blackburn. Do you remember Bob Blackburn? Do you remember him before?
Not Kevin.
Before Kevin Calabro. But so Google him right now. Bob Blackburn, original voice of the Sonics. He called their championship game when they won in '78. Yeah, he was that dude. But yeah, Bob was the team commentator for quite some time before Kevin Calabro came along. And KC, of course, KC is just on a whole.
Okay.
Level.
Oh yeah.
See, Bob.
Okay.
So yeah, I met him. I told you I just have this knack, man. And, some people would see that license plate and say nothing and just go on their day and just ignore that old man there and never bother to talk to him. I'm not that guy. I'm like, I see that. And I'm like, I'm going to go over here and talk to this dude, see what that's about.
So Voice One would be Bob Blackburn,
yes.
First voice of the Seattle Supersonics.
Was that correct?
Voice One.
There you go.
That's
what his license plate said, Voice One.
Makes a lot. Do you have a photographic memory? Or
I do. I do. I won spelling bees from second grade all the way through my senior year. I could have gone and probably won state, but I just didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to show everybody in the school that I was in that I was the best speller. It was funny. 11th grade, we had our PSAT score. We took the scores every year. I think it was from 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th. You take these tests, right? And one guy, I think I told the story, but his name was Matt Hara. He was 17. He was writing programming for Atari while we were still in our senior year of high school. And they contracted him to write, programming for their games. And guy was brilliant. Matt is just, he was probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. Him, Bhushan Gupta, and Bobby Martin. Those three young men that I knew during my school days, not to say there weren't mothers, but in Richmond, Virginia, during my schooling at Meadowbrook High School, those three young men, were some of the most brilliant guys I have ever known in my life. And I mean, super smart. And they come out our junior year, and there's like, we'd like to congratulate two of Meadowbrook's students for finishing in the top 1 percentile in the nation overall. So every single subject, 2% here, 1% 2%. Said Matt Hara and everybody's, of course, right? Yeah. And they go, and Billy Custalow, and people in the class turn and look at me like, huh? What? And I'm just like, oh shit, the secret's out now. Like now they're all gonna know that I'm super fucking smart. Like no, that my mom had to deal with that shit. They were like, he's 3 years ahead of where he's at right now. Like my freshman year, they wanted to put me in at least 12th grade calculus, pre-calculus, or freshman year of college math because I was so good, dude. I told you about fascination with the number 9 and just numbers in general, math in general. I've just always known math is the universal language, and I don't know, man. My brain is wired that way. I'm a musician, so of course mathematics is a thing. But I loved reading. God, I loved reading, man. The library was my sanctuary. And like I said, once I found out that there were these things called fantasy novels like The Hobbit and shit, I was gone. So I was into reading. So I was really good at spelling. I knew big words. I knew what they meant. I'm over here sounding like Cat Williams. I read about 3,000 books. I read about 3,000 books in a year, you see, because I didn't have nothing else going on except I was pimping and I was working on my comedy routine. And then, but then I was reading books, in between. That's because that's what a pimp does. A pimp sits back and reads books, pimps got to be smarter than the host. Anyhow, no, but I did. I read a lot, and I was really good at spelling. And there was this thing one teacher did where we would read like Shakespeare, and she would just start us off, and she'd say, "Okay, now everyone, you read. If you don't pause at a comma, if you mispronounce a word, you do anything, you stop." The teacher was, yeah, you missed it, and they'll explain where you missed it and express. And it's back when teachers actually taught you how to spell, but also how to read
and
how
not just
to
read, but comprehend.
Comprehend,
yeah.
Like that comma means pause,
right?
A momentary pause, right? So shit like that. So you understood what these little marks and shit meant, annotations and what have you. And so anyhow, we do Shakespeare, and I forget which one it was. I think it was Romeo and Juliet, but it got to me, and you could hear the class go, "Oh." This is like 5th grade, I think. I think it's 5th grade, 5th or 6th. No, maybe 5th grade. But I just remember hearing the whole class go, and the teacher just looked, and she would smile because she knew what the sigh was. Everybody knew that no one else is going to have to read the rest of the class. Like Billy's going to sit here and read this whole fucking story, and he won't miss a beat. He'll pause at the commas. He'll read the words correctly. He'll say it all with the whole old English flair and all, and just roll. And I'm like, yeah, I just took to it. I don't know how to explain it, man. It's just.
So do you read now?
I do.
What's your favorite books to read?
I still love fantasy novels, man. Believe it or not. So lately I've been I bought bookshelves to put in my new home, and I had to fill them up. So I go to the Goodwill store, and of course Goodwill has just tons of books, and if you buy so many, you get a discount. So I just stocked up on a lot of those. Got a lot of Tom Clancy, a lot of he's something D. I forget the initials of the guy. But anyhow, some Stephen King, although he's become quite a disappointment in recent years with his bullshit. A lot of these guys are, man. A lot of these famous people that I used to love their work are starting to pipe off and talk a bunch of bullshit, and I'm just like, bro, don't ruin it for me.
we're gonna switch gears on this. We're gonna switch gears.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Just because I want to go down that road with you for a moment.
Absolutely.
Because back when I was a kid, like you said, it was Teen Beat. Dude, for me, it was Saved by the Bell. I grew up in the Saved by the Bell era.
Saved by the Bear.
Saved by the Bear.
You sound like one of those. Sound like one of those new feminist chicks out there.
So
go for the bear.
New Kids on the Block. Don't hate, but New Kids on the Block. I was just like, I would envision myself to be like, and now the 6th member of New Kids.
You hear that, kid? If you guys want to come over and hold him down, I'll beat him up for you.
No, but I was just like,
nerd.
Well, that's the thing. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be in the band. I wanted to sing. I wanted to perform. I wanted to play basketball. I want to be in front of people.
Hey, man.
And so then you come out with later on in life where you see all, like, let's say my goal would be on Nickelodeon, and so I would look at all like, come down to this mall and you can get it, take some headshots and this and that. But now you look at these, and obviously I don't think I'd ever be on these shows. No agent would choose me, looking the way I looked like with my bowl cut and like gopher teeth. But And so, but like in my head, that's what I wanted to
We
do.
are our own worst critics. That's for sure.
Exactly. And so then you see this like Nickelodeon and some of these Disney Channel, these types of shows where they have the pedophilia and the grooming and you're like, whoa, I
Yeah.
wanted to be in that.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I'm so glad I
Bro,
wasn't.
right.
And so I feel like you have had so many opportunities to be in something, but for
Yeah.
whatever reason you're not. And then do you ever look
God.
back on that and go,
God has a plan.
oh man, I was dying to be in that.
I wanted to be in Hollywood.
But now I'm like,
I wanted to live in Hollywood so badly. But then I realized how shallow, evil, corrupt, plastic, fake. It's an insidious industry. Music, film, television, journalism, all of it. It's all fucking corrupt. It's all, at a certain point, if you want to make a living, you do what? You play ball. You read the lines that they put in front of you. Not to say that there isn't originality out there, but they've figured out a system now of a certain number of beats and certain patterns with regurgitated fucking lines and shit over those beats and what have you will generate sales. People, it's the whole frequency thing, right? But there's something to be said. Like I said, that old warm feeling of an analog recording of Journey or Foreigner or, Kansas back in the day when you listen to that music, or Boston and you hear Aerosmith, you hear that warmth and you hear the lyrics that these guys are singing and you're like, that's real shit. Now what you get is stuff that makes you basically telling your girls to be little sluts, telling your boys to be, I don't know what, hard gangsters. It's amazing how a lot of these guys that pitch that bullshit, that hardcore gangster fucking crap, most of them are pussies that wouldn't last a fucking weekend in Memphis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they spit a lot of shit. Bro, there's certain individuals that ain't gangsters, but they're different kinds of gangsters, and I won't go into details because I'll start getting called shit, even though I'm mixed blood as fuck. But my point is this: is there's certain individuals that know they can make money off of that crap, and so they push that crap. You come out with something genuine that the people will resonate to, they want to figure out how they can control you with it. If they can't, then they want to scoot you aside because they need this manufactured crap to fill that spot, and you're taking up places. That's why I watch, I use American Idol and America's Got Talent, and I see people up there that are just amazing talents, and I just watch them and I go, God, that's too bad. They're like, why? Because they just sold their soul, basically. Because you're not going to get on that show until you sign a contract saying, I agree to this and this and this and this. If they say this and this and this, if this and this happens, then I agree to this and this and this. So basically you're saying, I'll come on your show. If you guys find that I'm talented, I will already be locked in with an agreement that I signed that says you'll have me for so many songs or albums, and I can't do shit for a certain amount of time. My name, my image, everything is owned by someone else. I don't know how much more you need to see to say that sounds satanic as shit. Like, you're selling away everything. You're selling your image, your voice, your talent, your soul to the industry. And that's what people are forced to do. And then you said like the indoctrination shit, there's like so much the message now. And Disney and these guys, they can't seem to understand, like, you're losing sales, you're losing people because we don't want to hear that fucking shit, dude. The small percentage of people you're pitching to ain't buying it. If they are, they're not giving you enough to keep your shareholders happy. So maybe you should stop trying to fucking reinvent the wheel and go back to what worked. Pitching wholesome, healthy, positive messages to people, to children. People resonate to that. Music should have a soul, a story to it that means something. People resonate to that. But if all you're giving us is this manufactured factory fucking garbage, man, shove that shit up your ass sideways, man. That's where I'm at with it. Other than that, I don't really have an opinion on it.
So I want to be sensitive to the Father's Day. I know that you brought it up a little bit,
yes,
but is there?
And I know I got here early, so I'm sorry for rambling a little longer.
Well, no,
I knew you said we'd be a little longer.
We'll be a little bit longer today, and that's good for me because
it's good for the ladies who like the sound of my voice too. Travis. Don't forget that.
So let's go
Hello, ladies.
into what you were thinking of what you wanted to talk about when it came to Father's Day.
Okay, so preface this story before we get going. Thank you, Jesus. So you know the story. I left here like right after that concert where Jerry tried to pimp me off and everything. A few days later, I got my motorcycle repoed, and I'd been working at this job on the east side in Redmond. So now I don't have transportation, and I'm bummed. It's the sad thing, season affective disorder here. For a new guy that's only been here for, this is my second winter. I got here in October of 88. Now it's winter of 89. I'm missing Phoenix. I'm missing partying. I'm missing friends. And I'm missing this girl that not missing it, but this girl that I had met right before I had left, that my friends were like, yeah, she and her sisters are, part of the scene down here, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. So I had the hots for this girl. So I'm like, I want to get back for multiple reasons. Anyhow, I get back and probably right around her 18th birthday, my this girl, Anita, she breaks up with my friend Sean, and I'm thinking it must be getting pretty close to April to Easter time. She and I hook up for the first time ever. And, we're two young people, very hot for each other. But I'm in the midst of, I'm still doing dope. She's doing it. We're all doing it. It's meth, man. Arizona. Anybody that's in Phoenix back in the day, you understand what I'm saying when I say, meth. Duh. It's like you come to Seattle and say heroin. People are like, yeah, okay. It's a day that ends in Y. So anyhow, she and I hook up, but we're both very promiscuous at this time. There's no commitment. Just another way of God saying, see, this is why it's so important. Yeah. She and I, like I said, we were young. We were a lot of toxic shit going on in our lives. Anyhow, I stopped seeing her. And then one day, I used to go down to Mexico with my friends a lot. I had these big boy friends, Earl and Bill and Greggy and Art. Art was, I think, Navajo. Greggy was like one of the Mexican tribes. Earl was just a big redheaded Irish dude, and Bill was just a big old fucking brunette, just white boy, who drove this big ass monster truck. But these were my friends, right? We were good friends. So we would go down to Mexico all the time for like spring break and July 4th and Labor Day, all of the holidays and shit, and spend the weekend down there partying. We get there, like leave Friday morning and get down there Friday evening, afternoon, whatever, and then stay and then come back Monday night. So I'm getting ready to leave. This is the spring break trip. Phone rings, and this is back in the day when we had all landlines, right? You need pagers, but he's like, Nikki, phone for you. I get on it. It's Anita. I'm pregnant. Fuck. Okay, can we talk about this when I get back? Well, she's emotional. She's freaking out. She doesn't know what to do and all. And she's saying some things, and I'm just saying, hey, I'll be back Monday night. I said, I'll call. If not, I'll call Tuesday. So anyhow, a bunch of screaming and shit. She hangs up. She's mad because in her mind, I should have dropped everything and ran over there to her. In my mind, I'm like, fuck this. We're going to Mexico. I got my face. They're literally, the dudes pulled up out front and they're honking the horn as I'm on the phone with her going, I'm literally suitcase in hand walking out the fucking door. So it's not like I'm just... Anyhow, that aside, looking back, I should have said, guys, sorry, I got to. But her sister was not a big fan of mine at all that she was living with. These are all water under the bridge details right now. I call Tuesday. Her sister gets on the payphone outside because I called payphone and I was like, hey, dude, can you go up to the apartment, blah, 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 and ask for Anita? Yeah. So her sister came down, got on the phone, basically told me in short order to go fuck myself. So I took that as a fuck off, go away. Probably shouldn't have given up so easily, but I was not in a state of mind at that time.
Did you view it as an out? Like
I
a
did.
little bit of an
I
out?
did. I thought trust me when I say I was heartbroken because and it was just one more thing to make me feel like I'm not good enough in this world to even have, anyhow, not her fault.
Mhm.
Trust me when I say this, none of this is my daughter's mother's fault at all. It's all on fucking me. I want that made clear. So I assume that there is no child. It was my assumption. I tell you, I'm at the gym. I'm working at the Bally's thing, but then I find a band, that Industrial Slam, and start singing with them, and I start the drinking thing, and I'm drinking heavily, and part of it's probably that, like, wow, fuck, man, because as much as it's liberating in one sense, it's demoralizing in another. You know what I mean? It's heartbreaking. You're just thinking like, wow, I wonder what if. And so I'm thinking that that is no longer. So I move on. I won't go into other details. She says something happened but I apparently was in such a fucked up state that I don't even remember the scene that she told me happened. I hand to God on my mother's soul. I don't remember it. I wish I could, but that's how bad I was. And like I said, when I told my mom I was moving back up to Seattle to sing for Jay's band, she told me she felt like God lifted a weight off her shoulders because she knew that my life in Phoenix was toxic. So I get up to Washington. It's 94. I meet my ex-wife, but anyhow, we're dating. We decide we're going to get married. So we're going to get married. We started dating around July 7th, 6th or 7th, right after July 4th. So we were going to get married then, but some friends of hers from Vegas were like, they owned a gym down in Vegas. They were like, hey, can you hold it off for another week? We got a championship that weekend. So we did. So I ended up getting married on July 13th. However, about literally 4 weeks before that, I get a call from my old friend Sean. We called him Pygmy. But he was the one that used to date. Anita can't stand him. That's she has every right to feel that way about him. It's been 30-some years, but I don't blame her. She wouldn't piss on him to put him out. And I don't blame her. But he's my boy. I love him, But anyhow, I haven't spoken to him in years. But anyhow, he calls me because he had the number, up in Seattle, and all, because people were still able to keep in touch with me back then. So he calls me. He's like, "Hey, Nikki," he says, "I saw Anita at the grocery store." He says, "Dude, she's got a little girl, looks just like you, man. The girl looks about 4 or 5 years old." And I'm thinking, fuck yeah, that would be right in the, obviously she could have gotten someone else, but he's like, "No, Nikki, this little girl looks just like you." Remember this when I say this. The Custalow genes are strong, dude. There is no lifeguard in our gene pool. You can see it, dude. You look at pictures of the fucking Custalow tribe back in Virginia, man. It's just like, oh yeah, you can see them. They're all related. So I'm like, well, do you know how to find her? Or dude, she hates my guts. Because I don't know. I was like, just ask around. If you find out anything, let me know. Like, I want to find out. So that was when she was a little girl, and I'm just like, now my head's spinning, and I tell my wife to be. Like, and we're in the midst. Like, we got people coming in from out of town for a wedding. My parents are coming. My mom and stepdad are coming from Virginia. Like, we're getting married. Like, all the shit's arranged and prepared. So my life is already work, wedding, work, wedding, work, wedding. Oh yeah, let me sleep. Work, wedding. Mm-hmm. And then I get this shit. So I tell her. I find out later. It's still my fault, dude. It's still on me. I can't blame her either. I just have to deal with it this way. It's the only way I can move forward with my life. My wife refused to accept that it was even possible that the child was mine. She would not assist me in looking for her. She would put shit in my head. Do you really want to take on that financial? I'm like, if she's mine, yeah, I do. Actually, I looked at her, I go, if she's my biological child, yeah, I want to know who my daughter is, and I'm like, so I bought a laptop computer, a Dell. First computer I ever owned was a Dell laptop. Cost me $2,100. I had to pay for it by myself. Wife would not help me.
Right.
The first thing I searched for in that little search engine thing called Google or whatever, every search engine that was available at the time, first thing I put in them, Anita Snow. first thing I ever searched for. I remember to this day, it's vividly stamped in my head. Every fucking search, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. From time to time, I would go and just look to see if anything new maybe popped up. Maybe there would be a receipt or a lease or, just something, right? A Facebook, social media post, anything. And understand, this is 1996, 97, 98, 99, 2000. The internet is evolving and coming along, but it ain't YouTube, it ain't Facebook, it ain't even MySpace yet. You know what I mean? There's really a limit to what you can find, without resources or knowing. So I'm doing what I can, but I'm just like, fuck, man, this is kind of like, this is an effort in futility.
Yeah.
So,
Needle in a haystack.
So let's fast forward. So anyhow, she and I were married, go through it. We split up. I go through my shit through the divorce. It's 04, 05. The divorce is final in March. I heavily back into partying, drugs, the after hours scene, the underground scene in Seattle and all. I go down a hole. I start dating the porn chick. End up in jail in Skagit, 40 years old, fucking felony charges for growing plants, trying to get off of opiates. That's not where I wanted to be. Anyhow, I have a lawsuit pending for my neck injury with Puget Sound Energy. That gets, I forget that I had gone in November to try to reopen it. And now it's all the way here in the summertime. I get kicked out of jail, and then I'm struggling. I get a job. My friend JJ that I told you about gets me a job as a night dispatcher. So I'm working for a while doing midnight dispatching for luggage and all. And wait, then all of a sudden I get a call from the paralegal in Bellingham. PSE has relented. You're getting back pay. This is 2 months after I gave my fucking motorcycle back. Oh, my big dog. I don't know if you saw the picture of it, but red. Yeah. So, I had to give that back because I was behind and I didn't have the money to pay for it. So I was like, fuck. But she says they've relented, and oh my, this is one of the largest settlements I've seen in my time here. I'm like, cool, good. So I won't tell the exact number, but just say that my favorite number is 9, and any numbers that add up to 9. So let's just suffice it to say that the number that I got, the number is equal to 9. It just keeps popping up for some reason.
Got it.
But it allowed me to get a place in South Seattle, set up my grow operation in the basement, start growing killer weed, and got on Facebook, got a computer, got on Facebook, and started reconnecting with friends in Phoenix that I hadn't spoken to in 15 years. And I find my friend Norm. He's this guy that sings for a Queensryche tribute band down there called The Reich. I've got stories about that. I can share it too. Great. He was one of my best friends. Unfortunate. We haven't spoken in years, but anyhow, another time. I find him. I reconnect. I go down there. We're hanging out. He's got a daughter now. He's married his girlfriend the girl that I knew him way back when, and they have a daughter now. And I'm just, me and the daughter are getting along fine. We're playing in the pool in the back and all. We're just, and he's like, Nikki, dude, you're so good with kids, bro. You got to find your daughter. And I was like, dude, I've been trying, man. I go, he tells me, I know this thing you can use, or with a service you can use. And he turned me on to it. And he's like, man, when you get back to Seattle, man, just, use this. I'm like, I am. So I got back, and I immediately, as soon as I got back, I got on my computer and I paid the service, and boom. Anita Snow, West Phoenix, like one fucking, and she'll even tell you, she's like, yeah, it was the one time she put her name on something. She goes, otherwise she never put her name on shit. She goes, that was just weird that you got that. So now I've got an address. This is August of 2009. I call Norm and I say, here's the address, write it down. I said, brother, if anything happens to me before I make it back down there, please find her and let her know your daddy loved you, was looking for you for the whole time he knew that you were alive. But he just wasn't able to find you. But he wanted you to know that no person in this world was more important to him than you. And so the Reich is getting ready to do a big show at the Marquee in Tempe. He's like, Nikki, you got to come down and we'll watch the Super Bowl. His Indianapolis and New Orleans Saints. And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. So I plan a trip and I go down. Now I get down there Tuesday and Norm picks me up. And he lives, like I told you, over at East Mesa, his beautiful palatial estate. And, he gets up in the mornings. Normally, he takes his time. He's no normally no rush. He'll take his daughter to school. They take her to a private school. But other than that, if Clarissa didn't do it before, when she went to work, she's a bank manager and whatever. So otherwise, he would just sort of be chill and he'd get moving, but it'd take him, he'd shower and do his. He gets up Wednesday morning, my first day there, and I hear him come out of his bedroom. He goes in his office. He's in there for just a couple of minutes. He rustles around in the drawer and he's like, "Hey, Nikki, are you ready to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I just got to put my shoes on." He's like, "Let's go find your daughter." He was so revved, dude.
Wow.
He like, you know what I mean? I knew this was like, it was important to him.
Yeah.
That's when you know somebody's a friend, right? Like like I said, I wish things were different right now. But anyhow, happy Father's Day, buddy. Nice. Here, let me get a shot of that real quick. Yeah, see?
My daughter painted that for
Oh,
me.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I just told him I went to see my doctor today for something, and I told him about your
My
show.
daughter, not my doctor.
No, I know.
I know.
I said I went to see my doctor and told him about your show today, and he had the table like that, and I was like, "Yeah, you'll see a little dude on it in a full body cast sitting on a table just like this one here." Like, okay. But anyhow, I said, "All right." So we hop in his bitchin' ass. He's got this. At that time, he always had. He had a Hummer. He has the Audi. Like he had nice vehicles.
I've got something for next time. I've got something. That will
I was
help
going
you.
to say this would normally stand up, correct? But anyhow, it's just making me look fat at this thing. I'm not really fat. I'm not. I'm pleasantly.
Oh, man,
I'm
that's
not
how.
fat. It's
that's,
the gun. It's the gun that makes me look fat.
Oh,
The gun makes me look fat. Is this gonna make my ass look big? So we get in the car, and I mean, bro, when I tell you this is a fucking haul, it would be like you going from here, driving from here, probably to Magnolia. You know where Magnolia is?
over past
Seattle, North
Yeah.
Seattle. Yeah, like that's where my friend Scott lives, Stock Car Scott.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be like us leaving your place now and driving over to his place. It would take us a while.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is like equidistant from East Mesa to where she was over by that's called Centennial High School. So if anybody knows the area there in Phoenix, that's the neighborhood she lived in. But she was off of like 100 and something in Camelback. So now, now you've had the preface, folks. You've had the build up, the lead up. So now I'll tell you the story. Norm and I take that trek and we pull up. The house is visibly, obviously empty. There's no one living there. My heart sinks. He says, "Well, just walk up and see, man." He says, worst comes worst, we'll just leave a note on there. Maybe somebody will see it. And, Yeah. And in my head, I'm just like, I'm never going to find my daughter. Just never going to find her. And I walk up and I knock on the door and there's no answer. And I'm standing there. Norm goes, "Hey, Nikki, why don't you ask the neighbor that pulled up?" Now, folks, once again, I will tell you, God has a plan. God's divine intervention will show up in places that you just don't really think about it until you look back. The neighbors to the left never spoke to the previous residents of this house, and they had just moved out about 6 months earlier. The house had remained empty. So it wasn't the neighbors to the left that pulled up. It was the neighbors to the right, where Kylie spent abundant time. Like Anita, friends with them. Kylie, major friends, hang out in the garage and smoke weed with her. Understand, folks, this woman didn't pull up 5 minutes earlier or 5 minutes later. She pulled up right then. Her daughter had to go pee. She was out shopping. Her daughter doesn't like to pee in public restrooms, so she's going to drop off her Walmart stuff, let her daughter go to the restroom, and then they're going to go back out and continue shopping. She's only going to be here for a minute or so.
Right.
Understand this. Like, the timing, dude, is uncanny. This could, a slight variation changes everything. I'm not telling this story. So I walk up now. At this time, I'm still Mr. Masters. I'm my head shaved though, and I've got a black beanie on with rhinestone skull on it, and my shades, right? And I walk up, and I'm like, "Excuse me, ma'am." And of course, it's Arizona, so I'm all tattoos and shit, and I'm probably looking like, oh shit. And her name is Brenda Horton. The woman is an angel in my world, in my life. I'll never forget her. I walked up to her and I said, pardon me, ma'am. I was looking for the lady that used to live here. And she looks, and she's sitting in the front seat of her car, and she looks up at me, and she goes, and Norm's sitting in his Audi with the windows down. He can hear. She says, oh, you mean Anita? And immediately I'm like, ding, 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 ding. And I took my sunglasses off, and I go, yes, ma'am, that's who I'm looking for. And I'm smiling, and she goes, wow, she hasn't lived here in like nearly 6 months. And her daughter, whatever's getting, and they're like, yeah, it's been like 6 months. And she's like, I'm not sure where they, oh my God, you're Kylie's father.
She could tell right away.
And I stared at her, Travis, like this. I'm like, and she's like, and she starts trembling. She puts her hand, she goes, I'm so sorry. Should I not have said that? And I looked at her, and in the voice of a 5-year-old little boy, I looked at her and I said, my daughter's name is Kylie? And she went, oh yeah, you didn't know that? I said, ma'am, I wasn't sure if I truly had a daughter until right now. I said, you just confirmed for me everything I needed to know. And she's like, oh wow. She goes, well, yeah. She goes, she's such, and she starts going into detail. Like, hey, Norm, you need to come here and hear this, man. So Norm gets out and he walks over and he's standing there. And I mean, and you could see her, she's trembling. She's like, and Kylie, when I tell this, Kylie's like, yeah, that's Brenda. She's so emotional like that. She's like, but she's like, yeah. And she starts describing Kylie to me. And I look at Norm. I'm just looking at Norm as she's saying this stuff. And I'm looking at Norm, and Norm's eyes are getting bigger and bigger. And he's just like, and she goes, she looks at Norm. She goes, what? And he goes, you just described him to a T.
Yeah.
Like literally everything you said about her, that's him. And I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I'm dumbstruck, man. Like I'm having a hard time formulating words. I know, yeah, that's hard to believe, but it happens. Rarely, but it happened. Yeah, I was just like, I got on the phone and I called my mom. Hey, Mama, remember when you came out for the wedding? Remember when you asked me to take a walk with you on the beach? And she said some things to me. My mom told me, she's like, I'm so sorry I was so strict on you. I was learning with you. And she goes, and I realized that's probably why you're so far away. And I told her mom, I said, it wasn't just you. I said, it was a lot of things. I said, but I know. I said, I look back, I said, I can only imagine. I said, what was I at that time? 27, 30. I said, I can only imagine at your age. I said, what, I'm 15 and you're what, 31? I said, about my age. I said, I could imagine right now being my age, having to deal with a smart ass, a 15-year-old that knows he's smart and a little attitude and would lie to me, lie to my face like I did to you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that kid would survive me. I said, the fact that you let me live is a testament to your restraint. But I said, Mama, I forgave you a long time ago. But she says, have you and Christine talked about having children? And I said, yeah, Christine doesn't want to have kids. She says, what about you? I said, I kind of want to. I said, but I don't know. And there's something, instinct telling me, yeah, I want kids, just not with this fucking bitch.
Right.
But I was like, yeah. And she says, it's just so weird. And this is what I tell people. I'm just like, my mama got some, what do they call it? Broga, the witch, They got that witch blood in the halls and up in the Martinsville hillbillies, man. They got some witch blood in them. Because my mama says, I had a dream that you came to me and told me that I had a daughter, that I had a granddaughter. Because she's got grandsons out the wazoo, right? Yeah. And she's like, I just had a dream that you came to me and told me. And this is back in 96. She says, I had a dream you came to me and said, and it's so weird because literally a few weeks before, here's Sean calling me, telling me, I haven't mentioned a word of it to her. I haven't mentioned a word of it to anyone other than Christine. And I look at my mom, I'm like, I do. I go, you do. I go, I don't know what her name is. I said, but her mother's name is Anita Snow. She lives in Arizona. I'm like, if anything happens to me, Mama, please try to find her and let her know who her family is and that her daddy loved her and tried to find her, but didn't know how. And she's like, Mama, I remember my mom just looking at me. She's like, really? I was like, I swear, Mom. I said, Sean just called me and told me this. So I'm standing there talking to her, and I'm like, oh, do you know where she's at? And Brenda's like, no, I mean, she has, I think she moved down to 51st and Thunderbird or something. She says she's got this car. My daughter has this, at the time, this piss yellow Dodge Neon. It's just god awful. Just she loved that car. My daughter loved two things. Well, three things. Her bestest friends. One of them passed away recently, which was really sad. But her bestest friends, her girlfriends, the show Friends, and that piss yellow Dodge Neon. She loved those things. God, I love my daughter so much, dude. I can't put words to how much I love my daughter. How much just what she's done for my life, for my soul. Yeah. But she says, I can probably find her, but it'd take me a while. So I was like, oh, Norm, the clear-headed one, says, Nikki, why don't you just give her your name, information, and everything? That way she can try to find Kylie, and then she can come to you of her own accord at her own time. That way you're not just, I go, yeah, no, just like, hey, I'm your dad, accept me, here I am, blah.
Right.
He's like, yeah, let her deal with it in her own way. And so I'm like, so of course I'm calling Brenda every, freaking 5-6 days. Anything yet?
So
no, I
down?
swear I'll let you know. I swear, Nikki, I'll let you know. I know, I'm so sorry about it. She goes, no, I understand.
And you're down there during this time?
No, I'm back up here.
Oh,
I'm back up here.
Yeah,
because I made the trip down, watched the Super Bowl and everything, and then I think I came back I think I was there for a week. So I left the Monday or Tuesday.
Gotcha.
So I'm back in Washington, but I'm staying in touch with Brenda now. I've got Brenda's number. She's got all my information. So then she tells me, she says, I found her. She says, I found her. I left a note on her car. I'm just waiting to hear from her. And she says, okay, she got in touch with me. She said, I told her that I had some information I need to share with her, but I couldn't do it over the phone, that she needs to stop by. So she says when she has time, she's going to stop by. So then the story was told to me. She came by. She says, come out to the garage with me. So Kylie and her went out to the garage. And she says, a man came here a few weeks ago looking for you. Of course, my daughter, being a little outlaw mini-me that she was, her eyes probably got big, like, oh, shit, I got warrants. But no, she says, yeah, he came here looking for you, and he's your father. And she says, and he says he's been looking for you for a long time, and he really, really wants to meet you. He says, if you want him to be in your life, he would love to be there. He says, but he just wants you to know that he loves you and that he has been looking for you for a long time. And he's so sorry for all the pain he's caused you, but he's just hoping you'll give him a chance. She says, Kylie looked at her. My daddy came looking for me. And she says, yes, sweetie, he came looking for you. He's been looking for you for a long time, and you look just like him. Mm-hmm. Your guys' smiles are identical. And she's like, really? My daddy came looking for me? She's like, yeah. She says, here's his number. He says, whenever you're ready, give him a call. There it is. There it is. I tell this story to people, dude, and it's like, it never fails. It doesn't matter, men, women, the tears come when I tell this story, because this is real, people. This really happened. So then, of course, it's my birthday, on the 19th of February, and I'm just thinking, man, what a great birthday present. Yeah. I think it was like the 23rd or something like that. So she texts me. She's like, hi, is this Nikki? And I'm like, yeah, is this Kylie? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, hi, baby. It's so nice to talk to you. And that's the whole thing. I'm talking to my daughter. Right. And like, she's calling me Nikki. Totally cool. Yeah. Come to find out, what's your full name? Kylie Nicole Snow. Nicole. Anita named my daughter after me. Her middle name is named after me, because Nikki. So she named Kylie. Her middle name Nicole. She liked the name Kylie. She liked it like Wile E. Coyote. Yeah. So we call her Kylie Wyote. Right. And it's funny because she went to Centennial High School, which I think are like, I forget what their mascot is. I think it's Coyotes or some shit like that, which is kind of funny. But yeah, she's she's the greatest thing that I've ever done in this world, man, and the greatest just joy I've ever felt in my life besides these grandsons.
Yeah.
And she's the one giving me the grandsons.
Yeah.
So God did this for me, man. You know, I went down, but I refused to stay down. And then I said, "Hey, God, I'm a fuck up. What do you want me to do, man?" And he says, "I got you. I've always had you. I'm just waiting for you to come around and say, you know, admit that you got your head up your ass. So now that you're trying to pull it out, I'll go ahead and I'll show you what I need you to do, which is be a better man, be a father, be a grandfather, and then hopefully be a mentor, be someone that can tell people out here like, hey, man, you know, don't let the guilt become you. What you did doesn't have to remain your legacy. You can change it if you want. So I want my grandsons someday, if they ever hear this, to know that your mother is my greatest creation and my greatest joy in this world besides you boys and any other of the kids that might come along after this recording. I just want them to know that if they ever hear this, that you were my purpose. God kept me around for you so I could be here to witness this. And I do still sit back and go, really, God, do you really think I deserve this, man? Because I don't know, man. I'm just like, I did some pretty bad stuff, dude. You sure? And I just feel like God's like, no, dude, like, trust me, I've forgiven way worse than you, Billy. Like, I've forgiven. You know, come on, Saul was on that road to Damascus before he became Paul. And we know what Saul did. Saul was not a good man. But God always seems to take the wicked and the wandering and use them for his purpose. And he put me in my daughter's life, and he's blessed me ever since by just, you know, pulling out the stops and finding her.
Yeah.
And dude, the timing, though, just for Brenda to pull up at that moment, you know what I mean? That still to this day, it's like, I don't know how else to explain. Like, God has a plan, bro. Come on.
Right.
She didn't pull up any other time.
Right.
She pulled up right freaking then. We were literally, if they hadn't pulled up, I'm getting in the car. I'm leaving a note, getting in the car and driving off. If another minute and a half goes by, I'm driving down the road. She might pass me. I don't know if she's going. I don't even think about it. I'm just slumped down going, shh.
Yeah.
And then maybe I never find her.
Yeah.
Maybe no one ever sees that note. Maybe, you know.
Or it's delayed until social media becomes
right, or whatever, you know.
But you miss out on those years that you've been able.
Funny, we did 23andMe. So Arizona are pricks about letting me put. So if she was under 18, I could easily put my name on her birth certificate. But if anybody out there knows family law here in Washington State that can help me jump through the hoops and hurdles of bullshit that you have to go through to put my name on my daughter's birth certificate, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. I tried to call down there and say, hey, can I put my name? It's like, well, you got to do this. I was like, well, we've got 23andMe that says she's my daughter. Yeah. And I'm like, and if you look at a picture of us, you look at us standing next to each other and we smile, it's kind of like, yeah, that's definitely related. And but no, y'all want me to do this other stupid bullshit. Like, so there's dudes out here that don't want to be in their kids' lives and shit that you're like, hey, get over here, come back here. And then you got one showing up saying, hey man, yeah, I'm here. I really want to do the right thing. And you guys are like, okay, well, jump through this fire hoop and then flip over here and then swim through these crocodiles and then come over here. And man, come on, y'all. Y'all got to make that shit easier for people. You know, for the men that want to do the right thing, don't put us through this shit. But yeah, that being said, she just had my second grandson. I just met Julio. And, oh God, he's so precious, man. His just adorable little face. But then you see my new profile picture on Facebook with Tanakh, with Frog. Yeah, he's at that age. He's about to turn 2. He'll turn 2 on the 10th of July. And, he's at that age where he's starting to be really fun, you know. Yeah. He's learning to talk, and he just giggles. He loves me. He has so much fun with me now. Like, he's got the grandpa thing now, you know. But he's such a rambunctious little boy. But he's a boy, you know what I mean? He's just all boy. Yeah. I love that. So it just, that stuff inspires me, you know what I mean? So now I'm working on trying to get my yard in shape and all, because I want to get a nice backyard, you know, landscape design they're coming to cut the trees down tomorrow finally. So that's one step. But I just want to get it all done. So by the time they're like 5, 6, 7, little boys, I got a clubhouse built for them out there, and some, just a nice yard, but maybe like a clubhouse, treehouse or something like that for them, but just something where kids can go and play, like do adventure stuff, be kids, right? And then told you the goal, hey, sugar mamas, listen to me now. The goal is to get me a place out here, a farm, ranch, something out there, like, what I said, a big spread and the compound, right? The Rockstar Ranch, baby. Like, make the Rockstar Ranch a reality, with I have my little studio in the back called the Outlaw Outpost, over here at the Rockstar Ranch, and then have my family living with me, my daughter and my son-in-law and my grandsons and granddaughters. Come on, just one granddaughter, please. But that's the goal, is to have the family living out there. And I don't know what my mom and stepdad are going to do in the coming years here, but God, if I had the financial wherewithal to buy a spot and build a barn and have the horses and the cows and the chickens
Custalow
and the goats
compound.
and just a farm, with growing our own food and generating our own electricity, and like a river or creek running back side of the property with woods where I can go hunting on my own property, that kind of spread. That's what I really want, man. The fuck away from this city bullshit.
Right.
Y'all vote yourselves into fucking dystopia, but I'm gonna be out here in the woods and the mountains with my horses and shit, just kicking it. And my grandsons I want them to learn how to be self-sufficient, and do stuff. So get them away from the corruption of the city and the corruption of technology, internet and shit. Let them boys learn how to be, boys, and then young men learn how to ride a horse. If shit goes down and you can't drive cars anymore, you can always ride a horse if you know how to saddle one and ride, and you can always feed yourself if you know how to grow plants, if you know how to get clean water, and you know how to generate electricity, and you know how to husband livestock. You can survive, man. It's just these are old skills that have just fallen to the wayside that I really want to try to get my grandsons and all into. So if society does become a big old pile of shit, they're out here surviving. They can restart humanity.
There you go.
And it's going to be my bloodline taking over. We'll be the next line of blue bloods. We'll be royalty.
I love it.
So there it is, man.
Happy Father's Day, man. Happy Grandfather's Day. Happy Father's Day.
I mean, that's just showered with blessings because of one decision, man.
Yeah.
One decision and one divine intervention moment.
And then also shout out to Kylie for being open.
The forgiveness.
And,
bro,
and just being like,
how can I forgive myself if she can find it in her?
Right.
Like I said, that right there, man, that's the picture right there. When she came to me around that corner, there was nothing but daddy.
Yeah.
She was so ready to know her father.
Yeah.
So the forgiveness was there. Now, understand, as the adrenaline and the emotions wane, then there was time to sit and think about it. And of course, there's some resentment. And I told her,
conversations.
You have every right to feel the way you feel about everything. Like, I am not going to judge you on any of it.
Right.
You feel the way, you come to terms with it. If you find that there's just no way around it, or there's something that I need to do to make it possible for you to move on, tell me what it is. I'll whatever. If I have to remove vertebrae, if I have to pull my teeth out for you, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Because like I told someone said, you ever regret leaving Seattle when the grunge scene was blowing up and you got Jerry Cantrell trying to pimp you up? And I said, there was a millisecond there where I thought about what could have been. And then I realized that Lane is dead. I realized that Mike is dead. I realized that Andy is dead. I realized that Chris is dead. I realized all these guys that I knew, hung out with, associated, related to, whatever, they're dead. And granted, Jerry is still alive and kicking, and Alice in Chains is still, doing their thing, and they're down in LA or whatever. But just the point being is, knowing my addictive personality, God, I can only imagine what I would have become had I joined a band here and I'm on tour with Alice in fucking Chains and Soundgarden. Are you kidding me? I know where I'm at. I'm hanging out with Mike and Lane in some hotel room, smacked out of my fucking mind. I just know me. But that didn't happen. I decided in a moment that my motorcycle got repoed. There was another moment where it was like God was saying, "No, I need you to go back down." It was like He just kept moving me to the places I needed to be, right? Because if I stay in Seattle, I mean, Kylie doesn't exist.
Right.
All these things, and then maybe Jerry finds a band for me, and maybe I start singing for some band, and we blow up, and Jerry's like, "No, you're coming on tour with us," or
Right.
whatever, some other deal happens, whatever. But I get swept up in the grunge scene wave and become part of that, and I end up like what's his face from oh, like Shannon, oh God, what are they called? Blind Melon.
Hmm.
Shannon, he's another guy, beautiful, beautiful musician, man, incredible musician. Heroin, like Sublime heroin, like all these dudes were part of that '90s, that early '90s scene of music. Stone Temple Pilots, Scott, he lasted a little bit longer, but still got him. Like all these dudes that I was a contemporary with as a singer and all that I'm trying to get that rub too, right? I want to be with those guys. Who knows what happens if I
Right.
actually achieve that?
So
But I
much
know
better.
what doesn't happen.
Right.
This. And so someone asked me, and I said, for about a millisecond, I almost did, but then I remembered something. Every turn that I made was the correct turn, even if I hurt people and filled myself with future guilt. It was obviously necessary for me to be who I am and where I am now. And so when I look at my daughter and she smiles and says, "I love you, Daddy," 10 platinum albums, Grammys, and all of Hollywood with their tongue stuck up my ass wouldn't come close to the feeling of having that little girl look at me and say those words.
Yeah.
Everything falls away from that. When my grandson looks at me and giggles and smiles and runs up and hugs me goodbye and says, "I love you," bro, like that's Academy Awards, Grammys, that's everything, and then some.
Right.
That's the glory of God saying you left the material behind and you found what's important. And so that's my testament, is that I realize this material shit, man, it's fading. It's nothing. It's like I used to think I wanted to be a 27 Legend member. And so that was 94 for me. I understand that's when I'm coming up here. That's when I'm leaving Arizona and coming up here. I'm literally thinking I'm going to die at 27 like all of my heroes before me, Jimmy and Jim and Janice. And, there was that club of famous singers. But I'm like at 27, 94, I'm like, something hit me like, you got to get famous first and then die. Like, but you're 27 now, so you're never going to be at the 27 Legend Cup. So maybe we should just keep on trying to live.
Just keep going.
We'll just get sober and live. But yeah, I made the choices I did, Travis, and they led me to right here to telling this story right now.
Which is an awesome testimony.
And I'm honored that you would allow me to sit here and tell it.
It's a great story. It's burned onto the internet forever.
It's history now. Right?
And hopefully your great grandkids are listening to it.
I do.
Yeah, and then when you decide to sign up to have your body cryo freeze, generated freeze,
I'm gonna be like Walt Disney. I'm gonna cut my head off and freeze that fucker. No,
no, they're gonna study it.
You know what I want done? I don't know if I told you this, but my desire, and hopefully this will be kept for legal reasons. My desire, I don't want to be burned to ash, because I don't know, man. Just something about waking up in that box going, "Wait, I'm not dead. Fuck! This hurts. This sucks." I honestly, I want to be an oak tree sapling, right, with the root ball. I want that planted preferably on the reservation in the graveyard behind the church there. A tree planted there. I want a plaque placed in the tree, or as the tree gets older, but a plaque that's mounted there and then eventually placed into the tree itself, so it grows around the plaque and holds it there, that states who I was. Like, this tree, blah, 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 whatever, with the remains of Billy Painted Horse Custalow.
That's dope.
And my body is just left down underneath the root ball to decompose and feed the tree. So as the tree grows, my physical body becomes that tree, which can last hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And stand on that reservation where no one will molest it or bother it, because it's as good as a grave site to anyone that's Billy's grave site. We don't mess with that tree.
That's way cool.
Right. And I think that's better than a body laying in a box. No offense to, my
Right.
father, my family members, but I'm just saying my desire is to go out like that.
Right.
That way the grandkids, great grandkids, all the descendants can come and say, wow, this is who we came from. We came from this guy.
Right.
Like, this guy made our grandmother or great grandmother, whatever, and then she made our, so and so's and on down, and like, but this dude right here, and then look, that's his grandfather, but his father is buried another place. Because my father has a spot on the reservation, but because he had the church that he had, and he had a cemetery out there, he wanted to be buried there as opposed. But there is still a spot saved for him next to his first wife, Janice, where she's buried on the reservation. And I always said, like, I don't know of a better place that I could have my remains remain than on that reservation in that graveyard, but not as another headstone, but as a living thing.
A living headstone.
Right. So
right on.
Yeah. So there you go, man.
Well, let's do shout outs and so you have your shout outs. I'm gonna shout out.
Yes.
Let me shout out
Please,
first.
please, sir.
Shout out Kylie for forgiving you and reaching back out.
Thank you.
Shout out for, is it Betty? Who was the one that was
Brenda
for
Horton.
not being
Horton.
like, oh, here, I'll get your information, and then
blowing me off.
and then blowing you off.
Right.
And then
Diligent.
also thank you and a shout out to the daughter
and to my friend Norm Saavedra.
Yeah.
I love you and I miss you, bro. I wish I knew why we can't talk, but you have your reasons, and I have to respect that. But I will always hold you in my heart as one of my best friends ever, because what you helped me achieve, no one else in this world can say that. And Norm was there with me when I met her. Can I finish the story before we get too far? Just a little bit more addendum on that.
This is it, though.
Norm, yes, this is it. No, I know. We're an hour and a half over. No, so Norm picks me up at the airport, and this is March 25th, 2010. So this is just a month later. So I'm talking to Kylie, whatever, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to plan a trip and come down. March 25th, I come down. Norm picks me up from the airport. And we drive immediately. We're in the Hummer. We drive over to her place. I get out. Brother, I've stood on stage and looked out at a sea of people and been like, my adrenaline just goes, yeah. I get out of that fucking Hummer to walk up to her apartment, and I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to faint.
Yeah.
I'm like, my head's spinning, the blood's, I'm like, I think I'm going to faint. He said, you all right? And I'm like, I had to lean against the vehicle. I'm like, I need a second here, man. I'm like, he's like, you're going to be okay. I go, I know, dude. I'm like, I've never felt like this before. And so I walk up, and I'm just expecting like her mom's going to answer the door, and like, there you are. Anita opens the door, and she's like, hey, sweet as can be. Totally forgave me. God, I love that woman. Like Anita Snow is someone that needs a shout out. Mm-hmm. Anita Snow raised my daughter without me around and didn't poison her. And that's why I can sit here and tell this story, because that woman is a fucking gangster.
Not poisoning her. She's huge.
She is a gangster, dude.
That's huge.
She is another one of God's angels that he put in my life, man. He takes us flawed ones and makes us, do great things. And she did the greatest thing in my life that I could ever ask for, and I love her unconditionally for that. But I walk in, and Kylie's friend is standing there. Kylie has smoking friends. But yeah, her friend's standing there. And she's like, hi, and I introduce myself, and then she's like, she's nervous, she's getting ready, and I'm like, okay, so I'm standing there, and then all of a sudden I hear the door open, I'm standing there, and she comes around the corner. And she's like, Daddy, and she runs to me and hugs me. And at that moment, Norm, I think it was Norm. I don't know if this is Norm or if this was Anita, but one of them had the camera.
Smart.
And took that picture.
Smart.
And that's Kylie crying me, and I'm just holding her, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I'm just the whole time I'm like, I'm so sorry. I love you so much. I'm so sorry. Yeah. And I just kept saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And yeah, dude, it's just been. And then of course Mama gets to meet her granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
Just, like I said, these pictures are very special to me. So yeah, shout out to all the people in my life that have forgiven me for being such an asshole. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I appreciate you having the patience to wait for me to come around. So I love all of you, and to all of the fans of Full Buddy Cast that have been listening to this and telling Travis how much you enjoy my voice and stories. Shout out to you. Thank you, because it means a lot to me that know that people out there can, like I said, resonate with what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy
to you,
Father's
fathers out there.
Happy
And
Father's
happy
Day.
Father's Day to you, because you're an awesome dad. I see that, man.
I
You're real good.
appreciate that.
You're very good with your kids, man.
Billy,
You
I
really are.
appreciate that. I know when it comes time when you got all these different pressures, the kids don't notice it then, but when they get older, same thing. Shout out to my family as well for all the stuff that they've had. I'm like, oh, wait, how come they won't do this? Well, that's because they're doing 400 other things.
Right.
So anyway,
right. Life gets in. What does it say? Life's what happens when you're making plans.
Amen. All right, everyone. Well, have a great week. We'll catch up with you. Me and Billy got to figure out the next date, but it's going to be next few weeks for sure. And anyway, have a great Father's Day. Happy summer, and take care.
Peace.
Welcome to the greatest of the greatest, a podcast that you never knew you needed, with interviews from people you have never met, or maybe you have once or twice, asking questions and knowing more than you want to know about them. You are listening to Full